at the printmaking studio, you can do gadget printing. Gadget printing is super fun. It's a little bit messy. For gadget printing, you need supplies from both the printmaking studio and the painting studio. So from the printmaking studio, you need to get your gadgets. So in our bin, we've got lots of different toys like toy cars, these little poppers, lids, Legos, all sorts of different gadgets that we're going to be using to print with. After you pick your gadgets, then you can go to the painting studio and you can get the other supplies that you need. So we need to start with a placemat to keep our area nice and tidy. You need paint cups. So you're going to grab a tray of paint cups. You need a brush. You also need a mixing magazine. You need a rag for cleanup. And of course you need some paper. Okay? So when you are gadget printing, you are going to first start by putting paint on the gadgets. So there's a couple different ways you can do this. Okay, so I'm going to do this gadget first. The first way is you can use the paintbrush, dip it in the paint, and paint it directly on the gadget. Now, you do not have to paint the entire thing. You're just going to paint whatever is going to be pressed onto the paper. So I'm going to load my brush up with this red paint. I'm going to carefully paint it on the edge. I'm going to turn it upside down, and I'm going to press it on the paper. So you can press it one time like that. You could try pressing it a second time to see if there's any paint left on it still, maybe even a third time. Right? So that's one way to do it, is dip your brush in the paint and paint it on the gadget. That'll work for some things. Things like the car wheels, that's not going to work so well for. So what you can do for other things is get your mixing magazine out, and you can use your brush kind of like a scoop, and you're going to scoop a little bit of your paint on your mixing magazine. Okay, and then you can get your gadget and you can kind of press it in the paint, or for the cars, you can roll them in the paint, and that'll kind of load up your gadget with paint. And then you can take it over to your paper and you can do your gadget printing. Okay. So you're either putting the paint directly on the gadget with a brush, or you are putting the paint on the palette and dipping it or rolling it in the paint puddle. Okay, so then you can press it on your paper, make your design. When you're done using the gadget, you need to use a washcloth and you need to wipe off the paint as best as you can. Try to get it as clean as possible. If you're having a hard time, you can always take it to the sink and wash it under the water too. Okay, so after your print is dry, you can either leave it as it is, or you can also use drawing supplies or other art supplies to add details to it. So maybe you want to go to the drawing studio and get some crayons or a Sharpie. It's really up to you. So I was just kind of experimenting with this. So maybe I could turn, let's see, I don't know what I can turn these into. I'll just turn this one into a sun to start. Maybe have a big sun over here. And again, I just was practicing. I wasn't really thinking about what it was going to look like in the end. I was just exploring and experimenting with the gadgets. Okay, so you can add details with crayon. You could color shapes in after it's dry if you want to. Maybe you want to get a Sharpie and you want to draw patterns inside of your printmaking. Okay, it's really up to you. So that's how you do our gadget printing.